Hello and welcome, fellow Sovereigns. And Linda, my friend from the Gold Coast, told me yesterday that yesterday's P Talk, I wasn't looking at my at the camera. I was looking sideways or something. So I'm just not sure if it's still working properly. Am I looking at you or am I looking at somebody else over there? Anyway, thanks, Linda. We don't know. Well, I could have checked, I suppose, but it looked okay to me. But it's not to you, and so we're trying something else. Anyway, today, just want to give you a couple of sort of simple things that you can do for stress. So, about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety and that sort of stuff. And so I spent quite a bit of time with a psychologist, and it induced me to do some research on PTSD. And one thing they found was in looking at animals that are undergoing stress, and it's almost every single animal in every stress situation, whether it's zebras or elephants or dogs or cats or leopards or lemurs, gorillas, whatever. When, for example, they are, when we shoot them with a tranquilizer, and do whatever we do with them, when they wake up from a stress situation, that is, there is pretty well every animal does this. When they wake up, they will then shake for a time. Their body will just shake. And eventually it will stop shaking. And then they will typically take 3 huge breaths. And then they will get up and go. And so researchers looked at this behavior and thought, is this a stress releasing process that animals naturally do? And if you think about, I don't know if you've ever been in a car accident or, good morning from down in sort of live-in way, aren't you, Helene? Hi. And nice to see you. So, yeah, sorry. I don't know if you've ever been in an accident where it's a car accident or you've just, fallen over or whatever. Or you've witnessed it. We find our bodies will shake. And it's what it is it's the body automatically releasing the trauma. And typically us humans, we want to pull it together. We stop the shaking. We good morning. And so what we do is we deny the body's natural response to releasing the stress. So what they've done is now with people who are treating others for PTSD, one group, or one treatment if you like, is that what they do is they get the people to put themselves into slightly awkward postures and stay there for a length of time. Almost, well, to me, they're kind of yoga postures where we're just putting our body under in an awkward situation. And what will happen is, if it's an unaccustomed posture, shall we say, where our body's just not used to that, we will shake. And we shake, and so the idea is just to stay in that posture until the shaking stops. Obviously, you can move out of it any time. And so that's and so then people have taken that a step further, and what I went through was they've done it kind of electronically. So they've designed these, electronic boxes. And they basically wire you up. You have 2 wires, and it induces electrical currents. I'm not really electronical. So it induces electrical currents. So you just basically sit there with these electrical currents going through, and they induce the same kind of stress, apparently, that putting yourself into stress does. So I'm just giving you some ideas. So it obviously for PTSD, apparently it helps hugely. And I suspect it's not the only thing that people do, but it's a really good physical therapy that you can do. And if you are under any kind of stress, not necessarily PTSD, but any kind of stress, it's a great way of helping let the stress go. So, just a few examples. One really simple one is to stand up about arm length away from a wall, and then bend over so that you're on a right angle, and bend over and put your arms against the wall. No, you'd be more than an arm's length away, wouldn't you? So the idea is your arms and body are level, and your hands on the wall, and your legs are down. And you simply kind of push both ways. You push against your hands, and you push your bottom out. So it's kind of stretching the body way. And so you can just hold that pose. And you can do that anywhere. You can do it standing in a queue if you can find a wall. And hold it. And after a while, you will find your body will start shaking. And stay there. And stay there for a few minutes. And the body will shake and shake and shake. And eventually, it will kind of go, done. And there's a whole lot of others. I mean, people who know yoga will know the down dog pose, which is basically a triangle. So your hands and feet are on the ground, and your backside's in the air, and you're pushing down with your hands, and you're also pushing down with your feet. So there's this kind of tension going on in your body, and you're also pushing up with your bottom. So so you can stay there for as long as, a few minutes. And that's another great tension one. Another really simple one is simply standing, and if it's hard for you, I mean, for me it's easy to put my hands on the floor, but just standing and putting your hands on the floor, or as close as you can, just let your hands hang but kind of pushing down. Keep your body under tension. So, and I'm sure you can think of a dozen other, Kirsty as well, from up north. So if you're having a stressful day, it's a really simple thing to do. It probably works better than alcohol. It works better than shouting at people. It works better than, I don't know, gambling and whatever. It's just a really simple thing you can do for 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. Find a pose that you're not kind of used to, and it might be just sitting on the floor and touching your toes. That's another one. And another one is simply crouching. So just crouch, and if you can hold your hands out, if that's possible, or just put them by your side. And so there is a phrase that we use when someone's kind of stressed. We say, shake it off. And where does that come from? It comes from our natural body's way of healing itself. And the shaking actually helps release the trauma or release the stress. And so rather than reaching for a smoke, just go and crouch for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, or touch your toes for a minute. It will, when you stand up, you might find yourself then taking 3 huge breaths. Allow those breaths to happen. Just come out of the pose, back into a comfortable position. And if you can, breathe through the nose, because that will take the breath to the bottom, to the stomach, if you like, diaphragm. If you breathe through the mouth, it tends just to do the chest. But if you breathe through your nose, it will generally take it down to your diaphragm, and that brings whatever trauma's in there right out. So it's just a very simple idea. If you're stressed in any way, just try it. See how it works. And just put yourself under tension in some way, and I'm sure you can be imaginative. Kirsty, if you're in your your clothing shop, you can just push some clothes aside and hang off the bar. No, it might fall down. So just whatever, just put your body into a slightly unnatural situation. And carry on with your day. So I wish you the relieving of stress. And I bless all and all who sail